Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday, it's April 25th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. An interesting day, and this is a really good example of prices rallying back to fill the gap. Um, Really what we had was two legs down. This measured leg didn't quite make it here, and that's usually if you get a reversal before you get a measured leg like this after a big one down like this one here, that's generally a very good sign that prices are probably going to rally in the other direction. But you see how far we sold all the way down to 29.14, and these gaps don't stay very long. And you can see we rallied back up and filled that gap. It looked like we were going to turn back down there for a minute, but we just went higher, and we came all the way back up and tested the highs of the day until we finally sold back off again. So what you want to do is you want to measure this first leg down like so. So when you head down, that would be your near-term target. And notice that it's right to the bottom of this two-tiered channel working lower as well. So that's a good sign. That's probably where we're headed. But notice we didn't get there and we reversed here, and this thing just rocketed back up. And we filled that gap and pushed all the way up and tested the highs and tested them a couple more times before we finally sold back off and uh, closed about the middle of the price action for today. So in the end, this is a big range. You really can't trade this like a range. You had a big trend down and then a big trend up, and there's some shorter term stuff in between that you really had to play almost. So it makes it a little bit easier. But I'm gonna back out. This is gonna wrap it up for the week. No chart lessons on Friday, so this will wrap up today, and we'll be back again to do it Monday. So anyway, let's talk about the trades. You had to be a little patient this morning. We had a trade right out of the gate, and then you just had to kind of sit here a little bit. So you just didn't really get a good opportunity to trade this here. This is like a spike in a channel down, but I don't have this on here. Let me draw this. You can see there's a trend up, and this is just a trading. We were in a trading range early on, and hopefully you can see this. Just to kind of set up why we traded the way we did early. And the key thing here, you can see this trading range. There's even a midpoint in there, right in there somewhere. But anyway, we got the double top and you got this low here. And when we traded down, you're just looking for this to come back down to here, but you end up getting to ride this all the way down. And then once we started lower again, you're going to look for that measured move, as I talked about. So, and this really is a spike in a channel, and it's a real tight channel, and you really just don't get another opportunity to enter this thing. There's not a one single break higher here that gives you a good setup, and you're just so far away from the EMA. But if you take this second entry short off this double top, you get a chance to ride this thing. So anyway, notice we're working up and you got two legs up, and you test that high, turn back down, you come back up, you test it again, and turn back down. So really there's a double test in there, but more than anything you got a break of this short-term trend line, a move to a new high, and then a double test of that, then this big bearish bar. I like going short. Normally I'd be a little leery of the EMA, but if it's on range days, you can't help it. I mean, if you want to go long off the lows, you got to be below the EMA if you want to go short. So we don't worry as much about the EMA. It's just flat, and you're going to be entering on the other side of it quite often. So we're not as worried about that in this case. So it's still something to always be aware of, but that's a great second entry, big bearish bar, and you don't hardly take any heat on that trade. There's maybe two ticks in that bar, two or three, and then the bottom just falls out. If you catch that one trade, that's all you need today. But if you don't get in here, then you got to wait on this second entry down here, and then you get to make a first entry, a second entry. It's the first break of that trend line, and you make another move down, and then it bounces. And you really can't try to get in this until you know it's reversed and going the other way. And really how I found this two-tiered channel was I just drew this line off these lows. I drug it to the top and we turned down right off of it. And once I saw that, and if you go ahead and put your midline in there too, it kind of makes sense. You can see it working down through here. And notice how it gaps right over it right there. That's a good sign that you're probably in the right place. Notice how it pushes through, pulls back, and tests both the EMA and the midline here before it goes higher. And so we bounce, but notice the new low. Then the first entry, you push right on through. Notice how you don't get a whole lot of resistance there. Pull back, and you get a second entry short right there that fails and a nice bullish bar. I like going long there. Just looking for it to either we're headed back up here, or if this is a trend channel, we're headed back to here. And so regardless, this short-term trend line is still in play, and this is a reversal pattern. So it's really tempting to enter in these, but you better wait. And unfortunately, you do get a close outside and a new high, but unfortunately on my chart, you don't get a very good setup. If you had a nice signal bar here, being away from the EMA like that, you may take it. And if you broke higher here and turned back down, you may take it. And you really could argue to enter here. I didn't mark it because there's too big a chance we're going to come back up. This trend line hadn't been verified yet. I'll give it a green, but I really think you're better off just to wait. And unfortunately, it takes off again, and you don't really get a chance. This thing was really weak in here. And this is about where you would expect a reversal to happen. Notice that if you look at those lows across there, see them right there. It's just a retest of that breakout. Notice we didn't test it here, and that's what we're doing. We're coming back and retesting it. Once you made the retest, plus you got the trend line, off it goes. And then, of course, just like here, you get a second entry short. Actually, a little better setup here than you had over here. And you move to a new low, and then you get another second entry short. And this actually broke higher and then turned down. It's not a great signal bar, but it's a second entry short, and you probably had to figure we're headed lower. This one is close to being green. I mean, the real thing is there's some resistance across there. And I don't have my line, but I'll put it on there just to help everybody else see it. And you can see that resistance. And I would have liked this bar to be a little better, but you had to figure we were probably pushing down to try to make that measured move, and we haven't gone back to the lows yet, and we're right at the midline. We're still below the EMA. The only thing here is we hadn't made a new high here. We did get the break, and we don't have a new high, but there's a double test here as well. And so I like that one. Again, it's real close to being green because it's not a great signal bar. You may have had a little better signal bar. I don't know. Then notice what happens. We bounce, and we bounce early, and we head back, and we're probably headed back up to here. But the fact that we didn't get back down here and we didn't meet our measured move tells you that, hey, this thing we're probably going to get a break of this trend line at the very least. And notice it's coming up, and you get a first entry, and then you get a second entry, and you get a fairly bullish bar. If you got enough room to get out before that trend line, you may take this one. And notice you get a little double test of this breakout area. It's a little breakout pullback, and their prices are just coming back and double testing it right there, this high. And that's what you want to see. And so you may take that one, but notice you make a little double bottom, and you run up first entry, second entry, and this looks like a spiking channel and a nice bullish bar right off the EMA. Possible trend line there. I like going long there. And then we get a two-legged correction, and that is generally the center of the pattern. So you'd want to look for a possible measured move up here. So there's your leg one. And if we start higher here, and notice where that takes us. To the tick, a perfect measured move. Just doesn't get any better than that. But anyway, second entry, there's actually a second entry long right here. And if you took that one and you started getting sideways here, you might have exited that. The key was you needed to look for two legs. And even though there's a second entry here, there's not really two legs. And what it is, you got to move down, and then you got a little two-legged correction in the middle of that, and then your next leg down. And so once you saw that second leg down, especially if you drew this trend line and drug it down to the low, hoping that it's a two-tier channel, and then off it goes. And this was a great trade. There is a failed second entry short here, but you're so far away from the EMA. You're right at the top of the trend channel. I just don't think you can justify entering up here. And then you run down, and you get a little first entry there and a little second entry, but that's all really one move. And you want to see you want to see some kind of reversal type pattern or trap. And notice you got that negative, that bearish bar, and then you got a bullish bar. I would have at least waited on this bar, and then when you got that next one with a double high, they're just telling you that something's going on, so there's no reason going long right there. I would just sit tight and see if you don't get another leg down. Plus, we just had a double test of this the overnight highs up here. And I really thought we'd go lower. You might have even considered going short right there, but you've already got your break in a new low, so it's a little risky doing anything right here. If anything, it looks like a short trap, and you might have tried to go long. At that point, you wouldn't have had a little trading range. It would have, you can see what it looks like. It looks like a little short trap. So you may have gone long. It's all below the EMA, and we're still making lower highs here. So I think you're better off to wait. I did mark it green, but I think you're better off to wait. And then it's obvious we're in a little trading range. And finally, you get a little bitty bar bullish down here. With enough room to scalp out. So you may go long there, and guess what? It pushes on through, pulls back, gives you a higher low. I like that one too. And then you're just, at the very least, you're looking for another leg up like that. There's leg one. And then you'd look for a measured leg. We actually went a little higher than that. And then that took you in the 2 o'clock hour. I just think there's nothing here. There is a failed second entry long there, and if you had taken that, it would have worked. But I think you're better off just to wait. And it takes you in the 2 o'clock, and you just don't really get another chance at anything. So, pretty good day, especially if you caught this first trade. If you didn't catch this first trade, it's hard to sit there and watch that. And you had to really wait till here before you got your first trade. I mean, it was really slow this morning early on. And you don't really get a good chance to enter here again. Unless you had a little better setup here. This one, if it had broke higher, I'd have liked it a little better and I'd have made it red. But really, this was the only one you needed if you caught it. And it did set up nice. It did set up nice on my chart. So, and then of course, if you caught one of these longs here in the afternoon, same thing. You only needed to catch a trade or two with a runner to make a really big move today. So anyway, that's going to do it for the week. That's going to do it for today. In the end, this is just a range day. A lot of resistance up here around this 29.36, which is about where we got to 29.40 yesterday. I believe that was the high. We got maybe about 29.40, and we're really finding it harder to go any higher right now. We'll probably test this. It wouldn't surprise me to see prices come back and test the 2,900 again before it's over. But anyway, hope you had a good week. We'll be back again to do it Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.